Hello everybody, Jose Rodriguez back again. This is my second attempt at doing this. I lost my mic audio when I switched to the mode where I was displaying on Q image. So let's begin again, and I apologize for that. I printed something on the 8550 and I printed something on the Pro 10. 5x7, fit to paper. In other words, auto cropping on Q Image Ultimate, and I get different centering results. One of them is centered, one of them is not centered. Why does this happen? It's the drivers. They impart or force upon you what they call a non-printable minimum margin. And it happens that on the 8550, it is equal all the way around. Not so on the Pro 10, the Pro 100, the Pro 200, the Pro whatever from Canon. They will always have what I call the leading edge. In other words, if you orient your paper this direction, that bottom edge that enters the printer, that's the leading edge. That's what you will see on your layout tool being the top, okay? That margin is going to be narrower than the trailing edge margin, and you will end up with this result where this margin is wider than this margin. Notice that the top and bottom margins are equal. On the 8550, however, fill to paper and you get even borders all around. Okay, now if you happen to see a slight difference in the width, that is the paper positioning, and that is a mechanical process that you can't do anything about. Okay, they try to be as accurate as possible, the placement of the paper on an imaginary central axis, but is it really a correct, true central axis? Maybe it is not, maybe it is. It depends on the printer. Let's go ahead and jump over to Q Image, and I'm going to show you the differences between both printers, a Canon printer and an Epson printer. Alrighty, so here we have the 8550 loaded, and as you can see, this is irrelevant, 5x7, okay, and I am fitting to page. So I'm just going to hover, and you will see at the bottom that my printable area maximum is 4.77 inches by 6.77 inches. Note the last two numbers, they're equal. That means that I can say, for instance, use auto crop and fill that printable area with an image, and I get equal borders all the way around. That's why I was able to achieve that nice result on that one example from the 8550. Let's go ahead and delete this. I'm going to switch over to the Pro 10. And we'll do the same thing. Oh, immediately you saw the difference. Look at that. Top margin. This is a non-printable margins, folks. Right here. Left, right, leading edge. Look at that trailing edge, how wide it is. When I load that, again, using fit to page, look at the difference. You see that? Now, how can I trick this into giving me an even border? Well, I have to manually create a border that exceeds this one here. Whatever the width is, let me show you the actual numbers. So the printable area is not the same last two numbers, dot so-and-so, is 4.73 to 6.68. So there is a difference. So what we need to do is we need to figure out what would be the minimum width border that I would have to apply to all four sides to exceed this one here. And that will give us an even border. Let's go ahead and delete that. Prints, more. Choose the second option that says specify one dimension / border size. On this side, third choice, this is the paper border. So let's go ahead and do, I don't know, 0.18. Nope, you see that? It gives me an error. It's telling me right off the bat, given the current paper settings, the smallest equal page border is 0.20. Let's try that. Let's do 0.20. And it accepts it, and it throws the image that I already have preset to load. And look at that. We have perfect borders all the way around. Now, I want you to take a very close look. You see that upper edge is gray. All of the outside edges are gray. Those are non-printable margins. We are just inside the non-printable margin, I should say, on the trailing edge. So we were able to beat it. Now, as you can see, this is the printable area of the paper, the white part. But we cannot fill that area. Otherwise, we will end up with, unequal borders. So we have to live with at least a 20 hundredths of an inch, in other words, for a border in order to be able to have the luxury of 4 equal borders around this print. Otherwise, you just simply cannot. It's absolutely impossible to do it any other way. So if I want a wider border, I could, of course, enter 1/4 inch, and they're the same thing. Now I have, as you can see on the bottom, I have exceeded that minimum non-printable margin on the trailing edge. You can see a little bit of white, and this is our settings right now. We have a printable area, notice, 4.50 to 6.50. That means we are centered. If we ended up with a different number after the dot, the decimal point, it would not be centered. Okay? So that's how you defeat this issue. It's a very weird situation. I don't understand the reason behind it. As long as I've been doing this, I really don't understand the reason for this type of non-printable unequal borders that Canon printers impose on you, as opposed to something as simple as the 8550. We get exactly the same non-printable areas. And when you throw an image on there and you tell it to be centered and fill the maximum printable area, you end up with equal borders, whatever those borders happen to be. The XP15000, the same thing. Any of the Epson printers don't seem to have that issue, but Canon printers imposes that on you. Again, I would like to have an explanation by somebody very wise, a lot wiser than I, to explain to me why that is the case with Canon printers. But at least I showed you how to defeat that. All right, so I hope you enjoyed that and put that to practice, and you will not have any issues with prints that are not centered. And all you want to do is fit to page and quickly get a print, and yet the 8550 can do that with no effort whatsoever. All right, that'll be it for now. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you so much for the support. I hope you guys enjoy my videos. And of course, as always, happy printing, everyone. And bye-bye.